Aren't you glad I am not a pilot? Oh, wait, that wasn't the landing gear. Well, good morning, folks. It's good to see your smiling faces. This is once again the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions, and if you're looking for computer support or solutions, you can get a hold of me, Scott, at International CSI. I even said that wrong. InternationalCS.net. And we are the San Carlos Computer Club. We meet every Tuesday and discuss tech topics and check in with each other. And if you guys haven't been paying attention to, this is the 43rd meeting of this season. I do seasons by when I'm in San Carlos. So this is the 2022-2023 season, which will switch to next season starting my return to San Carlos when we have our first live meeting at the beginning of October. If you really haven't been paying attention, we started these virtual meetings during COVID. So this is 177 meetings that we have met online. So that's kind of an impressive number to keep going. I'm going to keep track of that number forever.
Even if you log in and nobody's there, you're going to count it, are you?
That's right. That does count. And if I don't get it recorded, it counts as well.
Well, if you don't have trouble recording it, it would be like number 4 or 5 in the
right.
In the set.
Hey, I don't know if I've showed it off yet, but I wore this shirt at least to show Bill. Check it out. Can you read that?
Number one dad in the galaxy. There you go.
Got that from my kid when she got back from Disneyland.
Cool.
Look at this. Irving is jumping in.
Hey, Irving.
Hey, good morning, Irving.
Haven't seen Irving forever.
Whoops.
Well, that doesn't look like San Carlos. And Irving, you're muted, so we can't hear you.
Okay, I'm unmuted, and no, it's I'm your neighbor. I'm over here in Homer.
All right, excellent. How long have you been back?
Good morning, Judy. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
I've been here about 3 months, I guess.
Oh, wow. Well, you must be having a good time. This is the first time we've seen you.
Yeah, a lot of fishing, we're having an excellent summer, but as you know, not much sun.
Oh, my gosh. I keep telling guests that come to the bed and breakfast, I grew up here. I don't remember it ever being so cold and wet at this time in the year. Yeah.
It's the most fog I've seen in 34 years also.
Wow.
Every day.
Every day. We actually have areas of the bed and breakfast that are kind of a pain in the butt to get into if it's raining. So we've had to make accommodations for people to get to their rooms easy. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you back, Irving. Hey, before we go through anything I've got, who would like to add to the topic list? Who has questions or issues or something they'd like to share?
Well, I haven't been here in a long time, but I can give an update on Starlink reception.
Oh, that would be great. From there in Homer, that would be an awesome thing to know.
Yeah, Homer and Mexico.
And in case anybody's interested, I am sticking the link to our document of possible topics in the chat right now. I thought I had already shared this, but it's getting mad at me because I must have people in this meet that don't have Google permission. Anyway, I'm just babbling. Go ahead, Irving, tell us what you found out.
Well, it's great. I'm here in Homer. You know, it's kind of a rural area, and getting about 150 meg regular, no problem streaming. It's been excellent. I got a little buffering at one point. I got online and found out that you have to clear your, what starts with a C.
Your cache?
Cache.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to click. I'm good at that, clearing your cache. So that worked.
Okay. Go ahead, Cheryl.
I was going to add that as a topic today. We've had a heck of a time. Well, I've had a terrible time. I think I mentioned to you guys at the beginning of the summer that all of my banking, my financial advisor changed corporations. So I'm creating all of these new logins for credit cards and banking information. And it seems like my browsers are keeping track of things, even when I tell them not to, and I don't want to save to the things they're telling them. And I'm having a hard time clearing all of that and letting me input what I need to.
Well, what Irving is talking about is absolutely the way, the catch-all, be-all for all problem solving on your web browser. What web browser do you use most of the time?
I use Chrome.
Chrome. So one of the things that I like about Chrome is you can go into the history and it immediately shows you how to clear that up. It gives you all kinds of options when you go to clear the browsing data. And one of the things that I've definitely been taking advantage of recently, because I've been writing these programs for this organization in Arizona, is I wipe out everything except browsing history. And what that does is it leaves behind the breadcrumbs of the research that I've done, while dumping all the caches. You can choose to dump passwords. I never bother to worry about. I mean, my intention is not to save passwords in the first place. But yeah, I'm looking at mine right now. I've got everything checked for wiping them out, except for browsing history, because I want to keep that list of where I've been. I want to be able to search that, because I'll forget what I was looking at, because I do research in 3 different spheres of my life. No, 4 different spheres of my life.
So a quick and easy way to get to that history. Okay, the 3 dots at the end of the thing, history.
And then click history.
Yeah, and then I can go to the ones that are giving me problems and do what?
Well, you could go individually, but that would be the history itself.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, that would all just be history. But if you click clear browsing data in the lower left hand of that column, you see clear browsing data?
No.
Okay, let me show you my screen. There we go. So I go to up here. This is what you're talking about. We go, and my face is covering what I'm trying to show you. Let me turn off my face. There we go. Okay, so up here under the ellipse, the 3 dots, the more menu, under there you have a history. And then
wait, it looks like you're in settings, because
no, I could be in anything. Let me.
So
yeah, I don't mean to convolute the issue. Here's our document of possible topics.
Okay.
And I go up to the more menu, the ellipse, and I choose history, and then I click on history at the top. And then over on the left-hand side, there's a column that's formed, and at the bottom of that column list, clear browsing data. I'm right there. Are you looking at me? Look at me. Look at me. It's right there.
I am looking at you, but I'm also I got it. Okay, that opened up this time. It didn't open last time. Okay.
Okay. And so, yeah, when you click on that, then it opens up settings. Or wait a second. Yeah, it opens up settings, and then you can choose what you want to delete. In the case of the Computer Club, I don't allow it to clear my passwords, but that's only out of convenience. I could just wait a second.
Clears history from all sync devices, cookies, and other site data.
If you're storing passwords in your browser, I may at this moment tell you to uncheck that. I just don't want you to get into a situation where you're going to have to go looking for your black book or wherever you store your passwords.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to troubleshoot, I think what I would do is I would clear browsing. I would take the check mark out of browsing history, but I would allow all the other cookies and cache, even site settings, hosted app data. I would allow all that to clear out?
Okay, I only have two choices: cookies and other site data, and cached images and files, and then a little note from Google how I can search history and other forms of activity may be saved in your Google account, blah, 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 blah. But if I push clear data on those two things, cookies and cached.
That may solve your problem. But if it doesn't, then come back and choose another one to clear and another one to clear. I've definitely run into this problem writing in app script for Google Sheets and Google Docs. I'll build something and all of a sudden nothing's working the way I expect it to. And the only solution, and it's a solution that you'll find on the internet, that will be like, oh, well, you're doing Google Doc development. Make sure you clear your cache. Make sure you clear your cookies. Make sure all that's fresh. And it always fixes the problem in my case.
Okay. Now this is going like this. It's taking its time.
Well, and you're on your HP laptop? Yeah. So it's going to take even longer than the rest of us are expecting, Cheryl, because you need a new laptop. Well,
tires on the car instead.
What's that?
We have new tires on the car instead.
I understand that kind of prioritization. My daughter's trying to hit me up for a new laptop, and I'm out there pricing what she's got versus what she might be interested in. And like nothing has changed. She's used a Chromebook for 3 years, 4 years, and the exact same package in a new shiny case is what they're selling at this almost the same price I bought it at. I don't understand how that works in the Chromebook world versus the PC world.
Yeah, we don't understand Chromebooks either. The kids all have Chromebooks because that's what they got during COVID to do their schoolwork. And we have a drawing apparatus that we would like to give to our middle grandson, but we don't think he has anything that it'll work on.
The drawing apparatus, do you know the name of it?
Yeah, Bill probably does. Wacom. It's a WACOM.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a tablet with a stylus.
Yeah.
I can verify for you next week whether it works. I need to talk to Viviana, but she owns one of those tablets, and we've moved it between the Macintosh, a Windows computer, and I think she has used it on her Chromebook.
Okay.
So it would just be a matter of double checking.
Right. And it's old, and it'd be a matter of making sure that you could get the drivers and everything for the. But
yeah, I don't think that's the thing about the Chromebooks is I don't think you need drivers. The software is still updating. Like the latest version of Chrome OS runs on these computers that we bought for a few $100s that is still in our lives. We've replaced batteries and keyboards and screens on these computers, and there isn't anything impressive about what the replacement is. I'm sure my daughter really wants a computer that can play games, and that quickly gets outside of my budget. So she may be spending work money on it.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering about. Back to the HP D2 replacement. I'm wondering if Chromebook is appropriate for me.
Well, that's definitely. In fact, I put an article in here about some of the new features for Pro Chromebook that have come out. Some of the things that would make it even easier to use. There's a list of new things that have come into. I think the Chromebooks is a great platform. Okay, Linda's in. Hi, Linda. Glad to see you. Irving's with us. How unusual. We got both of you guys on the same call. Chester's got his hand up. He has something he wants to say, and Bill wants to say something. Let's go in that order. Go ahead, Chester.
Yeah, I was curious how Cheryl came out on her silent auction.
Oh, it's still going on. One more week.
Oh, okay.
It closes next Tuesday, so we'll update you. Well, next Tuesday will be the last day of bidding. We're up to over 5,000 on our trailer, which is nice, and some things we haven't got bids on that we really expected to, so we're questioning he's getting it to the right audience, but we got another week to work on it.
Very good.
Bill, what do you got?
Okay, I was when you were talking about looking for a new computer and she wants to get into gaming. It reminds me a few years ago when I was still teaching in the media lab. The parents of kids that were headed out to university would come and ask me, what does my kid need when they go to university? And they've got this really nice gaming computer all set, priced out. And they say this is the one they need. And I said, well, what are they going to be in? They're going to in arts, maybe English. I said, anything that'll run a word processor is all they need. They don't need, high-powered graphics and stuff. At that time, maybe now you do, but they were they were trying to game the system with gaming. That's always
Absolutely.
They had $7,000-8,000 computers all lined up, and this is what I need for university. So it's not a new problem.
Right. It is not quite that expensive anymore, though. I mean, it is like $1,500, and I want to look at $500 computers.
And the Chrome operating system, is it extremely different than Files and Word, like, and Microsoft?
What you're talking about is extremely different from Windows?
Yes, sorry, from Windows.
Yeah, it is browser based to begin with. It is probably closer to an experience that you would feel on a mobile device, like a phone or a tablet, than you'd expect to find from a laptop. But they've made a lot of allowances for laptop use. I don't think a Chromebook makes sense without a touch screen. And consequently, I don't think you can buy a Chromebook without a touch screen. I think that's the standard. The real question is how advanced a touch experience you want to have on it. Does your Chromebook come with a stylus? Is a digitalizer, or what kind of resolution it has? Because she's been able to do all her things. I mean, gaming is the last thing that's left. She's able to do all her word processing, spreadsheets. She's a bit of an artist. She has been forever, and so that's why we have the Wacom. We bought Samsung Chromebooks that intentionally came with styluses so she could use it as an art pad. I think they're great. The battery lasts forever. I think they're a great solution. And they encompass so many of the things that just normal people do now on the internet that it's a great alternative. I think that I'm looking at a bunch of faces of people that might find every function that they need from a laptop in a Chromebook. And probably the only thing that would be a little difficult would be the screen size, because it is a Chromebook. It's most of them that are out there are like 13-inch screens, and that may not be comfortable for you folks. I know I go back and forth. I've got a 13-inch laptop. Windows has power for gaming, and I consistently find myself plugging it into a monitor to sit at my desk and do work. Everything on the 13-inch monitor feels like a temporary arrangement to me. When I go into Tequilas, I'm just dealing with it being such a small monitor until I can get it plugged into a monitor.
Okay, so I have two things I want to talk about. One is mouse, and the other is storage. So
both can be supplemented if necessary, because they have full support for a USB. So you can add mice, you can add Bluetooth mice, or you can add a cable mouse, you can add a dongle. All that's pretty dialed in as far as devices go in. The drivers for such things, at least the generic ones, are on all these platforms. And then storage is also another thing that's dialed in across the industry. And so where it gets weird is if you're taking something that was formatted specifically in a Macintosh format, may not be available. But if you want to supplement storage on it, then you can buy from Amazon any flash drive, any external hard drive, and you can add it to your Chromebook to add more space.
Well, when you said it was browser-based, I can get to my iCloud and just
as a sign-in to the website. In fact, if you wanted to have an experience that would be similar to a Chromebook experience, just stay in Chrome and access those things. Don't use the File Explorer. Don't use an extra app that like iTunes. But go to your services right through the Chrome browser, because that's the experience you would have from Apple.
I think that's what I've been using all along.
Okay.
I go to my Chrome, and in the corner I've got the little array, and I can go to my docs, I can go to my photos, I can go to my mail, I can do everything, and I just do it in Chrome.
Chrome. Yeah.
So I kind of think that I've been using my Windows. I do use my File Explorer, for a few things, but yeah, I think I've been using my Windows very much like a Chromebook experience.
It's very possible. There's so many people right now that just live in the browser. Everything that matters is in the browser, and that's what Chrome OS is all about, is just bringing that experience to a piece of hardware. There is a file manager in it. You can deal with files that you've downloaded or you want to put in the computer, you want to save outside of your Google space. But the default for the Chromebook is that you've bought into Google, you've bought into Google's Drive, the cloud drive, the G Drive, I think that's what they call it. All of that, you've just, the same way you would when you get an iPhone, you've bought into that ecosystem, you bought into everything that's available through it. It's ideal for that kind of environment.
Okay, I'm looking at the article that you gave us with the each month Google releases a new Chrome OS update, and just kind of going through it. I had to turn off my ad blocker for your article, but
oh yeah, was this the 4 new features that have been available?
Yeah. Phone Hub.
That's funny. This article talks about Chrome OS 1.15, but I think I heard this morning they just released 1.16. And this article is new. So that's the other thing, is that think about how often the Chrome browser updates, and that's how often you're getting updates to this operating system. It's at such abundance, you don't have time to think, well, was it the update's fault? Because actually, if it was, the next update might be 8 hours behind it. Chrome versus anything else. It would be, you could spend $1,200, $1,500 on a Chromebook. Google engineers say it's totally worth it. I don't know if I would want to invest that much hardware, because that much hardware is needed for things like Macintosh applications or Windows applications. Whereas the Chromebook seems to do well with anything that can sit in the Chrome browser. So it might feel sleek and finished and responsive. All that may be true, but it wasn't necessary. So I kind of feel like the $1,200 or $1,500 Chromebook is more a vanity product, because you can get the same work done with a $250, $500 Chromebook. However, you do get into 15-inch screens. And we've talked about in the past, if you've got an old computer that you want to repurpose, which we're all going to have that in 2 years when Windows dropped support for Windows 10. Somebody out there, I know I'm not the only one, has a laptop that works perfectly fine, but will not get software updates from Microsoft after 2025 because it won't run Windows 11. But there is a Chrome OS that's available that you can just load into your computer, and you have created a Chromebook out of your old computer. And if your computer is falling out of date for the same reason mine is, that is a really decent piece of hardware. It's beefy. It's beefier than a Chromebook that you would buy for $500. It just has a CPU from Intel that Microsoft has decided not to support as it goes forward. A generational support, not a technical support. So that would be that Chrome OS update for your laptop would breathe a lot of life back into that old laptop. However, under those circumstances, you may end up with a Chromebook without a touchscreen, depending on what computer you're bringing over to that operating system.
Yeah, I don't have a touchscreen. That's one of the things I need.
Yeah, I think the Chrome OS does not make sense without a touchscreen.
Yeah.
You really handicap yourself without having a touch interface with it.
I like this statement. A Chromebook can be an excellent portable choice for day-to-day tasks and general office use, and is often considered as being cheaper, speedier, and safer than a laptop.
Well, I don't know if I think I've told you guys about this, but this organization that I do work for in Phoenix has like 50 to 60 field techs out there in the field. And what I've been instrumental in is bringing real-time reporting to the production they're doing. And that's in the form of Google Forms, which is one of the things that Google gives you as your Google account, is the ability to build forms. And the form is a web page. It's a very generic, the format of the web page is not very pretty. It's not unique or diverse. What it is, though, is solid forms. And so if you need to collect information from somebody, you can send them a web address to a Google form, and they use pull downs or drop downs, radio buttons and check buttons, as well as text fields to fill out information and collect it on a Google spreadsheet. And so these forms can be filled out from any generic computer, including your mobile handset. And they were outfitting these folks, and we're talking like 50 techs, with Windows laptops, and the only thing they would do is install Chrome, because we live in a Google world in this organization. Everything is Google Workspace. Any document they might need is a Google Doc. Any spreadsheet they might bring up is a Google spreadsheet. And what they're really, 99% of the time, these field techs are filling out these reports that we've built. And they don't need anything other than access to the Chrome browser. So we got on this idea of just outfitting them with Chromebooks. And we cut our costs dramatically. The laptops, these are all refurbished equipment. They're out in the field, so they get dropped in the mud, they get broken. So every computer that's been bought for them has been a refurbished sale on Amazon. And we were paying $300 to $400 for Windows-based laptops. But consequently, we're not going to upgrade to Windows 11 because they did not satisfy the hardware requirements for Windows 11. So they were going to fall out of date anyway. But we replaced them with $95 refurbished Chromebooks without a peep from any of our users. Nobody has complained that they're using Chromebooks for the job that they were doing with Windows, and eliminated all the IT support I was having to give on Windows laptops, because Windows just has problems. It's a complicated operating system, and it just has problems, and it needs IT administration to keep them running. But by giving up on them, and going to Chromebooks immediately eliminated the need for any real IT administration. And one of the biggest selling points is if something glitches, if the thing isn't working right and it's software related, resetting a Chromebook takes minutes. You literally do a keyboard combination on startup, and it refreshes it back to Chrome blank, just out of the box Chrome, and then you sign in with your Google account, and away you go. So I'm not debugging problems on it. If resetting it doesn't fix the problem, immediately you know it's a hardware problem. When we're buying them for just under $100 refurbished on Android, it gets thrown into a stack of recyclables and we order another one. It's just made that world a whole lot easier to administer. Consequently, I'm still the only person in the IT department.
You're not there very often.
That's it. I'm also remote.
So under the disadvantages, on one of the things I found was no video, photo rendering and editing capabilities on a Chromebook, and that for printing, Chromebook needs to use Google Cloud Printing to print.
Yes. Yeah, both of those things are absolutely true. The only thing that has changed that is cloud printing has become much more reliable, and the video editing and picture editing, there are some offerings in the cloud. As long as you have really fast internet, that's a reasonable solution for hobbyists. A production team, if you're making videos every day for YouTube, you wouldn't want to do it on a Chromebook. Especially if you're doing graphics, visual effects for some organization, they would totally buy you a Macintosh or a Windows-based computer, whatever platform but you're really going to need those kinds of jobs necessitate very sophisticated video editing applications and picture editing applications. And you're just not, those only exist in the cloud as far as the Chrome OS is concerned. It has to happen in the browser. Now, the most recent things, the last couple of years, is they put Android on Chromebooks. And so if you're already an Android user, if you are the kind of person that is editing the videos that you need on your phone, then you can bring all that over to your Chromebook. And I know that's probably not you, Cheryl, but there's a whole generation of kids my kids' age that have been doing their TikToks and their YouTubes, and they do their video production on their phone or their mobile device. And the fact that they can run Android applications on their Chromebook just means they can bring what they're already doing to a bigger screen.
Okay. So internet speed, you've mentioned a couple of times. Is it time to segue to Irving telling us about Starlink?
Well, he was definitely giving us a good report. We branched off of this from the clearing cache conversation. But Irving, do you have anything more you'd like to add with your Starlink report?
Well, it just seems to be stable, and I can watch all the streaming I want. And I do have a report on YouTube streaming if you haven't covered it in the last couple of months.
What do you got?
Well, I researched the streaming devices. They seem to get the best rating. So the huge advantage of the YouTube streaming paid I think I pay like $70 a month.
Now you're talking about YouTube TV, right?
Yes, YouTube TV, not
Yeah.
YouTube, not YouTube, but YouTube TV, the streaming device. $70 a month. And the huge advantage is it has unlimited DVR. Unlimited, completely unlimited in the cloud.
Oh, wow.
I can't imagine what massive amounts of movies and things you can put on there. And it'll stay on there for 9 months. The huge huge disadvantage is that you can't erase it. So, like one of my very, very favorite things that we watch every day during breakfast, Betty and I, is Forensic Files. It's a true stories, and it's fabulously interesting. And we've been watching it for years. And so now I have all of the Forensic Files, period, from that existed.
Okay.
Available. But every time I put it on, I have to write down what I saw last so I can go through the line and get to the next one.
So it's not doing a good job of keeping track of where you were last.
It's keeping no track.
Oh. Okay. That's frustrating. So it is not tracking your watching. You know, that is so, because of what I was thinking as you were talking about this is a TV watching offering from one of the biggest notorious trackers of your activities, Google, or consequently the Alphabet company. I mean, it's right there. That makes me chuckle a little bit that you can't keep track of the last episode you watched with the company that tracks every email that you get, watches every web page you go to. You can't, there's nothing in place I bet that'll be fixed in the future.
Also, I want to say that that's not on every type of programming. We watch that, and we don't have a lot of time for TV. And I think there are some things that once you watch it, it's noted, certain movies and things like that. But I haven't had the time to explore it and use it.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because you would think that by default, just everything would be there. That you'd be. In fact, I know that one of the things that I do is I keep track of links to the Netflix account we use and the Prime account we use and my track.com account. I keep links to my watch history so I can just bring it up and see if there's anything I want to recommend to people. And I'm sorry, Irving, what was that?
Well, I believe I looked into it, and if I remember correctly, the reason is that some of the vendors allow it and some don't.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, no, that would, because it wouldn't be a technical issue, would it? It would be a contractual issue.
Yes.
Hey, Linda, you've got your hand up. I'm sorry, I muted you just because there was a lot of noise coming back through, but unmute yourself. What do you want to add?
Okay, well, I want to add, that happens on Prime Video. You're watching any of these series, and you go off in the middle, and you can't get back to the one you were watching if you don't write it down. It isn't like Netflix where you turn on the Netflix, and there it is. What you're watching, and you can go right back to watching exactly where you were at. But Prime Video doesn't let you do that either.
Linda, I wonder if that's the client you're using. Because I know that I'm very successful at going back to whatever I was watching on Prime. The only confusion that I've had at times
on
is
Prime?
Yeah, on Prime. And you can go to your account history and you can look at everything that you've been watching on the website. This is with a web browser, you can look at this. And the only confusion I've ever had is that there is stuff
with the web browser.
That's right. But even on the client, I'm mentioning my confusion. On the client, I've never had a problem with it, Linda. I'm sorry you have. And I'm suspecting maybe that's the client software that you're using that's doing that.
On the TV?
On the TV, that's right. I've never had that problem on the TV. I use Prime for watching videos across 3 different platforms, but I haven't had that problem. Jim, were you wanting to make a comment about that? I thought I saw your hand up there for a second. No? Okay. And so I have not experienced what you're experiencing, Linda.
Okay, but I'm talking about
on the TV.
I'm talking about TV series.
Mm-hmm. Like episodes.
Yeah, TV series on Prime.
Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't had that
Correct.
problem. When we go to our Prime client on the TV, then it shows us the last one we were watching and sets us up for watching the next one. I've not had a problem where it wasn't keeping track of those episodes. And I would encourage...
I'm wondering it's because...
I would encourage you to go to the website and make sure that the website is keeping track of it. Because there is a link, in fact, I'll find it for you, where you can go and look at your Prime watch history. And what I was starting to say is the only confusion I've run into is because we pay for Prime in Mexico and in the United States. And what I've found is there are certain offerings internationally, if you're a U.S. Prime person, that are not available in Mexico. And so when I'm going through my history list, I may look at it and go, wait, there's something missing.
Well, I was going to say that because I have Mexican Prime.
Yeah. And so let's see, what is this address that you need to look on the website? Because what I do is I keep a link to both the Mexican and the American Prime. And what you'll find is your watch history is mashed together. You'll find duplicates in one versus the other. And that might enlighten you to the content you're watching. Maybe your client isn't picking it up correctly. Now, what am I having? Oh.
Well, maybe it's because we're watching Amazon Prime Mexico.
Mm-hmm. No, that's what I'm getting at, is that, like, for example, if I'm in the United States and I'd watched something in Mexico that's not available in the United States, I can't find it. Or if it's available internationally in Mexico because I'm a U.S. Prime member, it may not show up correctly in my watch history. And that seems...
Okay. See, I don't have U.S. Prime.
But, all right, yeah, okay.
So the
then
Mexican Prime is like when you're traveling.
When you, well, in that case, then you would have only one history list, which I'm trying to get into now so that I can give you that list. But it would be interesting to see if your watch history is being recorded there. What am I doing wrong here? Copy that. I'm trying to carry on this conversation and remember my Prime password at the same time. It looks like it's Amazon.com/. This is an ugly address. Let me verify if I can. I might just paste this right into our chat because reading it off is just nonsensical. You find it under your account settings in Prime, but it is much. I bookmarked
Amazon Prime Mexico.
Either. But what I bookmarked it because it's such an ugly address, and I found it difficult to find in my Amazon account. It is on the accounts and settings page. Yeah, let me give you this address. This seems to be working. We also got our, well, I guess now we're at 14 minutes.
Can you write it down because I'm on my phone.
Well, I'll stick it in our document. You can bring up the document. But it's crazy. It's okay, Amazon.com GP
because I'm not there.
Video setting watch history. And I would just look in that list to make sure what you're watching is actually getting tracked on your Prime account, because at least then you know that it's recording your usage. It's just not popping up in the client you're using on your TV. Let me bring this.
Okay.
I'm going to stick this under topics, troubleshooting,
I have
and
another
advice.
subject. I just want to let people know.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, we just bought the Samsung 8K television.
Oh, yeah? How much 8K content have you watched so far?
Oh my God. Oh
Did
my
they-
God, the picture is unbelievable. I can't wait till the football starts because it has a true 120.
Frames per second? It's got 120 hertz?
Uh-huh. Yeah. But the coloring is unbelievable. And that you can see everything on people's skin, on their faces and stuff.
That's awesome. Guys, I got to do some bed and breakfast stuff. Talk amongst yourselves for the next few moments.
We have a okay, we have a delay, I can tell. Cheryl, I have a question.
Give me 1 second. I will figure it out.
Yeah,
Cheryl, are you there?
I'm here.
I have a question for you. Since I came in a little bit late, I didn't hear everything about the Chromebook, and I just wondered why you want a Chromebook and not get a regular Windows 11 computer, laptop with touch screen and everything.
That's just kind of what I'm looking at. Chromebook has a cheaper price, and it looks like it does everything that I've been doing on my Windows 11 anyways. So, but I'm looking at it on Amazon, and I can't figure out why things are priced differently and stuff. So I don't know that I'm looking at a Chromebook. It was just an idea.
Well, they're not very fast.
Oh, really? Because what these guys are saying
They're
is
not very fast. I have a Lenovo. I've lost you. Shoot.
no, you said
They're still there.
I can't hear you.
you said I have a Lenovo, and then you stopped. You have a Chromebook?
A regular Lenovo Windows 11 with the touch screen and everything. I think I paid $6 something for it with i7. Something's wrong. I got a connection issue. Okay, what about now? What about now? Well, I'm in a hospital, and the internet's not very good in here. Okay, anyway, I'm done.
Well, that's interesting. What about something like Streamio? Great.
So, and does what kind of speakers do they come with? Like my HP, I have to attach a little speaker on top of it because the speaker that came with it is crap. Yeah. Yeah. So, what do the numbers mean after the word spin? Spin 311, spin 513. Are these important numbers? Acer, okay. When I'm searching, yeah, Acer Chromebook spin 311, Acer spin 513 is $100 more. Okay. Oh, that's what it is. It's the spin. Okay, I got that. And then the number is just the model number. Okay. 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 Yeah. I'm just using my Amazon to figure out things. And I'll get touch screen, but then it's a Windows 11. And then I put in that I only want to look at Chrome, iOS. And yeah, the search items are being a little bit tricky. So. Yeah, yeah. 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 Well, I'm in a search item now that yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. This one, Canadian. Yeah. No, it's fine. Like Amazon, I've got two Acer Chromebook, and then I'm looking through the description. Everything is exactly the same. Oh, 128 instead of 64 gig on one thing. And I get down, the price is $329 and $679. So there's got to be something in there that makes this one more expensive, but I'll be damned if I can figure it out. Okay.
turned my microphone off while I was dealing with bed and breakfast stuff, and so YouTube is hearing all of you, but nothing I'm saying. Sorry about that, 1 or 2 listeners out there on YouTube. Brain fart. But I'm back. But yes,
I think I found one thing too down at the very
call ending. Mayday. I'm switching over to the other meeting. Hold that thought, Cheryl. We'll be right back at it.
Okay.
I hope
Cheryl.
everybody's.
Cheryl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Sorry about that, YouTube. It was just a discussion about Chromebook hardware versus Windows hardware and what necessitates higher pricing. A conversation that we've had many times. Welcome back to the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm glad you guys all have the new meet number. It's a good reminder of how cheap I am, that we have to choose a new meet halfway through. Oh, and if anybody's talking, I can't hear you. Cheryl, you're muted, but I wonder if I'm just suffering from the same problem I normally do. Say a couple words. Yep, I can't hear you. I'm going to jump out and come back in.
Much technology around me.
There we go. I can hear you. There's Linda coming in. Mitt. I think we got everybody.
Whoop, what happened?
Cheryl, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on Amazon looking at the Chromebooks, and you were asking about touchscreen. I see a whole bunch of touchscreen Chromebooks here.
Yeah, I was wondering why the prices were different. I figured it out. It got down to the bottom and it said 1-year warranty renewed. So it was a rebuild. That was why it was cheaper.
And plus, it also depends on the seller. They could have 100 different prices depending on the seller.
Yeah, if it's sold by Amazon or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
That's-
I'm sorry, I'm removing myself from the meeting because for some reason all of a sudden I'm sneezing. But I'm back now.
Well, I see one Chromebook here that's a 15.6 inches. That's $349, and it's touch screen.
Yeah, I think you'll be hard pressed to find a Chromebook that doesn't have a touch screen because I think the industry feels like I do. It loses so much value when it doesn't have a touch screen.
And it also depends on the size I see here on the prices.
Well, if you get into the nuances of the chips that are used,
The size you want.
The CPUs that are used, you'll see they're using some of the same CPUs that they've used for like the last 3 years. There isn't a lot of innovation in the central processing unit when you're in these price points around $200 to $500. Seems like you have to get up above $500 to see an innovative new CPU in it. But it's also an indicator of how little is...
And better speakers.
Yeah. It's also an indicator of how low-powered the Chrome operating system is.
Okay, well, I'm fine with moving on to something else.
Yeah, okay. What is our something else? Where did my, oh yeah, I just realized, no wonder I'm not finding my information. I've got my bed and breakfast info in front of me. Let me go back to my computer club info. Oh, and I did put the link to watch history on our document, Linda. So if you were to look at that document I sent out this morning, you'll find Prime Video Watch History, and you could look in there and see if your shows are popping up there. If they're not, there's an issue between the client and the and your Prime service. I would immediately try uninstalling, reinstalling the Prime Video app if possible. Someone wants to join this. Oh, Irving, I thought I let him in.
It could be the Mexican Prime.
Yeah, it might be. Are you in Mexico now? Linda disappeared.
No.
No, yeah. No, it could very
No.
well be that it's being recorded on the Mexican side of things, and it's not being reflected in your client since you're in the United States. Let me find the Mexican link here.
Because it has you in there as traveling.
Yep.
You know, when you first turn it on, it comes up, oh, you're traveling, and there's a little notice and everything.
Right. You actually, I think you actually have a bigger catalog,
I can put
don't
up
you?
with it for $45.
Mm-hmm. I think you actually have a bigger catalog
for $45
of Mexican content available to you internationally than you do U.S. content available to you internationally. Does that feel right?
Oh.
I just feel like that's what I've been observing.
We don't watch that much stuff, you know.
I'm putting the link for if you're Mexican Prime, where you'd get your watch history in the document as well. It's actually almost the same link, but it's primevideo.com. So I've left them in their full URL so that you can see the difference. The one that says primevideo.com is the Mexican, and the one that is says Amazon. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to sneeze at any moment. I apologize. Chester, you had your hand up for a moment. Was there something you wanted to add?
Yes, while we're discussing YouTube, I have kind of a dumb question. YouTube on my computer is an important entertainment vehicle, and I watch it a lot because I love history and various things. But when I try to watch YouTube on my television, I get ads. Now, sometimes you can cut the ad down or eliminate it, but
you can skip it.
It still keeps coming back. Any comment on that?
Well, only that is the way that YouTube is working. It's ad-based platform.
But it's not on the TV. I mean, on my computer.
Well, on your computer, I'm not sure what you're doing on your computer that would change that experience, but I do want to mention that I use a YouTube app on my Android streaming device called SmartTube, and it purposely blocks ads. It has worked really well for me for blocking ads. I'm trying to reach a remote control so I can have a visual in my background and it pops up a message saying that it blocked an ad in a little like subtitle as we move on to the next YouTube chapter. You know, normally it would stop, you do an ad, and then you'd go on to the next chapter in the video. And what this does is it immediately goes on to the next chapter, and in a little subtitle, it says ad blocked. And so I don't have to watch the ad. Smart Tube is the name of the app that I'm using.
2 T's, Smart Tube, T-U-B.
All one word with 2 T's. And actually, they stylize it with a capital T on tube. Now, I haven't tried this app on an Amazon Fire Stick. I got into this app because my streaming box stopped supporting the latest version of YouTube. It was crashing and having problems. And so it wouldn't update to the latest version of YouTube because it's a Chinese no-name streaming box that I use. And I take great pride in continuing to make it work, even though it's ancient. And one of the ways I continued to make it work was adopting to this SmartTube app. And it's got some great features in it, like you can say you're in an area that has inconsistent internet. Like maybe you've got 10 megabits a second one moment, 50 megabits a second the next minute, the next moment, 3 megabits a second the next moment. So basically your internet capacity is going up and down at any moment. It's very frustrating for many of these apps to deal with that situation. It would always be better if it was stable. If it's stable at 3, it's better than unstable 3 to 10 to 15 to 3, because your clients are trying to accommodate for those changes. You see this all the time. You go to Netflix and you're watching your video and all of a sudden the quality degrades, but you're able to continue watching the program. The sound might lose some depth. The quality of the video might go blurry. And what that is it's a really good client that is adjusting for changes in bandwidth. Maybe your kids are playing some game in the background that take a lot of internet. Or you've got a very low internet connection and you're surfing the internet at the same time. All of a sudden a YouTube commercial pops up and it sucks enough bandwidth that it's affecting what's on your screen on your TV. So all of that happens automatically these days. Before you'd get a lot of buffering, now it jumps to that lower quality to satisfy the amount of internet that you have in that moment. Where was I going with that? I know what I was going in. The SmartTube app actually lets you set limiters on what you're doing. So if you've got internet whose speeds are bouncing up and down and it's affecting your experience, you can go into the SmartTube app and you can say, only give it to me at 480p. I never want you to try and give me any higher resolution than 480p. And that way, if your internet's sporadic, it won't be as affected. It won't be trying, like when it sees faster internet, it won't be trying to give you that higher quality video presentation. It'll just stay rigid at what you selected. So that's just one of the many features that I have taken advantage of on SmartTube. Irving, you have your hand up. What would you like to contribute?
Well, and I had the same experience that Chester has. I subscribed to no ad YouTube. And then when I went on the TV, I was getting ads. So I saw that I have to sign in on the TV also to my subscription, and that seemed to solve it.
Wow, Irving, I'm glad that people like you and you other folks are here. I didn't hear that was Chester's issue, but you're absolutely right. That could totally be the issue. If you have not signed in to the YouTube app on your TV, then you're just having the standard YouTube experience, which includes ads. Is that possible, Chester?
Well, I'm not quite sure how to sign in on my TV.
If it's standard, then there should be a bar to the left that you can navigate to. It might be hidden, but as you move to the left, a bar should appear. And then at the top, there should, well, either the top or the, I'm visualizing it now under different scenarios. That bar to the left should have a settings in there that allow you to sign into your profile. I guess I can't get any more specific than that. My mind is racing through all these different YouTube experiences I've seen. I can't even actually say for sure that bar on the left exists on your TV.
It's a Samsung Smart TV. So YouTube appears with everything else.
Yeah, but when you go into the app, what you're looking for is a way to sign into your YouTube profile, which is basically your Google account. It's the profile that you bought YouTube TV under. Under some circumstances, YouTube TV might even be a separate app that you'd have to sign into to use it. It sounds like on your TV, it's not a, well,
I'll have to experiment, but Irvin has given me a lead of where to go.
Yeah. Look and find out whether you're signing into your YouTube app. That would make the difference. Have we got any other questions or comments, things you'd like to share? I brought a funny thing I thought you guys would get a kick out of. AI generated Johnny Cash singing the Barbie song. Have you guys seen this yet? It's going viral on the internet. I cannot pass you the audio, which is all it matters, but I did put the link in the document. You can bring it up yourself.
I'm not Johnny Cash.
But
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Let me see if I can switch over to this audio for a second.
You can brush my hair.
There's no way I can do it. I'm trying to, but it's not letting me do it. But it's a good example of how, and this is a thing that's been going on for a while now, they can profile an artist and then they can give it a song to sing by that artist. Do it in this style. And so this is one of the latest versions of this floating around the internet. This is the Barbie song that's become re-popular again because of the movie. I wonder, when I heard this, my mind immediately went to Johnny Cash did a number of cover songs for modern bands. Like some of these songs are like some of the best 9 Inch Nails music has been Johnny Cash redoing 9 Inch Nails songs. And I wonder, the way AI works, we've talked before, like Disney has this AI model now. They've used all this old footage from like Kurt Russell, for example, from when he was a kid all the way up to the most recent Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They've taken his image from all those videos. They've stuck it all in their AI, and now they can age Kurt Russell whenever they need him. They can bring him all the way down to a teenager, all the way up to a 90-year-old, and they can do it at the press of a button because of their AI. I can't help but wonder if maybe the reason this works so effectively with Johnny Cash is because they have so many examples of him playing other people's music in a Johnny Cash style. I can't help but imagine that that's used in the AI model when they're trying to tell it, now play this one you've never done before. Yeah, Judy, what you got?
Well, that's part of the issue with the strike, is the AI use of their photos, the AI use of their voice, That's part of the issue on the big strike. And I think it's a really valid issue.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those areas where we need guardrails.
So is the Johnny Cash estate getting all this revenue from this AI Johnny Cash singing Barbie?
Oh, I doubt it.
Well,
I mean, we
yes,
haven't
there's
done.
the problem.
Yeah, we haven't done anything to protect any of this stuff. This is a U.S. problem.
Well, no,
it
it's a
definitely
worldwide
needs.
it's a world problem.
Well, yeah, but like we've been talking quite a bit about how data protection works in the EU, and they're they're the ones that have the most protections, which is almost a bare minimum, and they have different copyright laws, but we have nothing in place right now that protects this kind of stuff. This needs to be reimagined in a world. I've heard politicians talking about a regulatory agency. I heard some intelligent people talking about the idea of a regulatory agency, which at first to me kind of sounds like a good idea. But what would really be interesting is if our country took an approach like the European Union, where you don't need the regulatory agency if you set the right kind of protections in the first place. Privacy, data protections in the first place, then you don't go after. It's kind of like, do you go after the disease or do you go after the symptoms? And right now, the way we regulate this stuff, we're putting Band-Aids on everything. Whereas the real problem is we haven't done a good job of the data protections in the first place. It's almost like everything's free game, everything's open. It's the wild, wild west. And there are only these certain things that need to be regulated. If you follow my thinking. Bill, did you have something to add, or are you just getting out of here? Oh yeah, what do you want to say?
I think it's only a very short step. Like if actors, are demanding protection. You take the Barbie movie, for instance. It would be almost easy. I'm sure it would be easy in the near future to just generate a Barbie actor, promote the hell out of it, and you like an AI character, and to hell with the real people. I mean, they don't need real people anymore, and it's going to happen. All this, this arguing about using my image. Well, your image is going to be dated pretty soon anyway, and they're just going to start creating character actors.
This morning, I was listening to a podcast from the tech guy, Leo Laporte, and he was talking about listening to interviews from extras, not extras, but like crowd extras, like people that fill seats. And he was telling a story about how these people were talking about how on this one production, they were pulled into a scanning chamber. And they were being asked to have their faces scanned because throughout the production they were going to need more crowd, and it was supposed to be the same crowd, and so their image was being used in shots in the background that they never stood and worked for. And when they signed up for work, they had given the permission for them to do this.
I heard that same
story.
Yes.
So that's kind of scary from a worker's perspective. But then the idea that they might just grab your image and put it in any production that's being worked on, regardless of giving you any kind of credit or compensation, that's incredibly scary for one of those actors.
Well, it holds true for all of us, though, doesn't it? What's to say they don't grab my image and use it without my permission? And the chances of me seeing it are pretty slim to remote, very remote.
What if it's supposed to mimic an independent production, and what they really want is they want an unknown to perform as well as a Tom Cruise, and so you could take a Tom Cruise I'm really throwing it out there, but you could take a Tom Cruise performance, you could change you could use the body language, the emphasis, the timing, but then the face is a complete unknown, and the voice was grabbed from someone else. So this person never existed, right? This is a character that, of course, it was built on a model that grabbed all this information from all these different performances, but the end result is a fictitious person that never existed, never had that voice, never had that face, but is giving a performance in a style that you would call like a Tom Cruise style. And maybe he's a bad example. Maybe Daniel Day-Lewis is a better example, or Christian Bale is a better example. But still, that is going to happen, because the technology has revealed that such a thing is going to be possible if it's not already possible. And I think that they're going to have trouble even sorting out where the face doesn't have to be a face that exists. We've proven that. It can be a face made up of 1,000 different faces. So that person is not a real person. Instagram is full of them right now. They have all these influencers that aren't actually people. They're AI-generated influencers. It's just the next step to bring it into entertainment. And then we're going to have to ask ourselves, do we want to be entertained by completely fictitious? I mean, all the way down to that person doesn't exist, that voice doesn't exist, the performance wasn't real. Are we going to, as a culture, be entertained by that?
Well, probably the first thing you're going to see is, the main character, Tom Cruise, for example, and all of the, like you say, all the extras, all the other people being generated in around them, which is going to be reasonably easy to do pretty soon. It's, we're not far off. And then the next step after that is just create the whole cast and let it run.
You remember the Tom Cruise or the Tom Hanks movie? What was that? Where he went through time. He met with Kennedy. He's playing ping pong. And, yeah, Forrest Gump. I mean, that was so long ago. They were able to do that. That things in that movie don't hold up. Things in that movie there are racially questionable choices in that movie. There are gender roles that are questionable in that movie. Look through the eyes of somebody from 2023. That's how old that movie is, and look what they were doing then. Now that stuff is done with the press of a button. You're watching YouTube creators put that together in their basement. Paul, I'm going to mute you just because I'm bleeding through your speakers. Yes.
So that's going to take us kind of like in a reversal. If you want to be truly entertained by true actors, you're going to go back to live performance.
Yeah. Because you're not going to find it on YouTube, because right now all those performers are working towards the algorithm. And that's all based on a monetary system, getting it monetizing. And it has little to do with their actual performance abilities or attributes, and has more to do with what makes somebody click on the next video. That's what generates the ad revenue. That's what generates the money, is whether you click, whether you watch their video for a certain amount of time so that an ad can be put across it. That's what's dictating performances on YouTube right now.
As a non-YouTube user, totally, except for how do I do something like put a new hinge on my door or something like that. I don't see the value of all that fake stuff personally.
Well, and TikTok is doing the same thing, and it's taken the internet by storm. It is the largest entertainment platform out there right now. It has the largest growth over time. It has got the most eyeballs on it. At any moment in the internet, there are more people watching TikTok than anything else. And you can bet studio heads are trying to figure out how to make that into money, because they don't want to deal with actors or contracts or unions or striking. to talk about the strike a little bit, I mean, this is a little off topic, but didn't you find it amazing how, I'll make it a tech topic. They one of the studios decided to do sidewalk repair at the time they were doing the strike, right? So they ripped up the sidewalks. So now the picketers had to walk in the streets. Well, the picketers did such a good job of documenting what was happening to them by the studios and broadcast it across the internet. They got so much support, the studio had to come and quickly fix all the sidewalks because they didn't want to appear as being these tyrannical leaders. They didn't want it to. They didn't want that story out there. So they went out and within 24 hours they had replaced all the sidewalks. So instead of having to picket in the streets, now they get to picket on brand new sidewalks. Something I don't think the studios were planning on doing at that moment. Another studio, and there's assumptions being made, but another studio ripped up all their trees. The picketers were under a line of trees where they were able to stay cool and they'd stay out of this 110-degree weather that's hit so much of the United States. And so they decided to prune back all their trees or even rip them out of the ground so they're in direct sunlight. Well, the picketers did such a great job of documenting that across the internet that to save face, the studio had to buy a bunch of tents. And now that picket line has all this covering to keep them in the shade. And they went as far as putting out water stations because they had to save so much face for how they were treating these union workers. But they've been caught saying stuff like, we'll just wait till they can't make their house payment and then they'll be ready to negotiate. And I'm really impressed by how other, I don't know if you noticed, but in England, their union of actors has come out to show support for this. And you get into these conversations, but it's just entertainment. It's not an important thing. We really don't care whether they're getting paid right or not. You talk to people on the street and that's kind of, well, what, they make superhero movies, right? It's like, what do I care what they get paid? But it really is kind of a fight for the middle class. And the most impressive thing I've seen recently is the airline attendants union came out, and I don't know if this is just California or if they're going to really announce this nationally, but they had this flight attendants union out picketing alongside, showing support for not destroying the middle class with these kinds of behaviors. Because what they're really fighting against is corporate greed. They're fighting against corporations that have made lots of money and they pay their executives, and they're not paying these wages that made it possible to have a middle class lifestyle in the past. I didn't mean for that to turn into any kind of rant. I was just really impressed by how effectively they are using the internet to support their cause. Yeah, Bill.
Okay, this has nothing to do with that, but I just remembered about 5 or 6 or maybe more meetings ago, I was talking about turning a old iPhone into a security camera.
Okay.
And I took the suggestion and found an app that works really well. There's only one caveat, is if you have any kind of glitch on the on your power or whatever, the iPhone drops out. It'll come back and it'll charge, but it drops the program, and you got to be physically present to reboot the thing, get it going again. So for my case, where I'm looking for security camera while I'm gone, it doesn't work. It works well if you're around to reboot it once in a while. It works very well. But I got on Amazon, and I think I paid $24 for a little security camera thing.
Like a blink camera?
It's probably saving all my data from any personal thing I have. But back to China. But it's motion sensitive. It's got a speaker and a microphone in it. It was $24 or $25. And it reboots itself. If it loses power, it just comes back on. So I am fully in support of the little camera rather than the iPhone. That's my report. I said I would report
So
back.
what's the name of this device?
Oh, it's a Deco, DEKCO. Where's the camera? No, I can never find the damn camera on this thing.
Your face is right in the center.
Bill, a little lower.
There.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the camera I bought off of Amazon. I just went security cameras and found a cheap one, and that's what I bought.
But I like the fact that it reboots itself, because I would like, now I have Simply Safe here and it works really well unless a battery goes dead. And then the sensor, like the door sensor and all of that, that's what happened to me this last winter. So
Bill, if you do want to pursue using the iPhone, I think what you want to do is Google Auto Start applications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a way to do it on both iPhone and Android. There is like an app or a shim. You could probably do it with shortcuts because the iPhone has that programming interface. But you're looking for the ability to auto start an application as soon as the phone comes on.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll look at it now. I'll see if I can get that to work.
Yeah,
it's just an exercise in using technology, I guess.
And if you're having battery issues, if that's the reason, is like you get disconnected from power and you don't have enough battery to get through that period of time.
I'm not sure. It just every once in a while it just drops out. It says you go on your app on the phone here and you can't connect. It says it's offline. You have to go over and reboot it or restart the program, and then it's up and running again. I've never really had troubleshot why it keeps going offline.
Yeah, I dealt with that stuff because I use a camera in our in-person meetings. I use a phone for our in-person meetings. And the different apps that I've used for that will have things like ignore the screen dim, ignore the battery. These are options in the app, depending on which app I was using.
Okay.
On the iPhone, I've been using one that seems to work very reliably, unless the battery runs dead. It'll continue to run until the battery runs dead without power, and it is called IP Cam. Very basic program that allows it to be a camera that's addressed from an IP address. And then I can put that IP address into any particular situation where it would support an IP camera.
Yeah.
And I paid a couple bucks for that app.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this camera is very simple to, you plug it in, you download the app and you connect it and it's up and running. It's very straightforward. There's no extra things to do.
Yeah, that's really where that market is too.
It's got a slot for a SIM card if you want to put record any amount of stuff.
Yeah, but, you mean an SD card, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, an SD card. Yeah, and but I'm not interested. I just want to be able to look in my kitchen in my living room when I'm checking on my house when I'm in San Carlos.
Hey, we are starting to run out of time, and there was another one here that I wanted to make you guys aware of.
Can I say one quick thing?
Oh, sure, Judy.
Bill, I cannot find a $24.95 Deco camera.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I got it on sale. I'll go check and report back.
Thank you.
Yeah, let us know. And Irving, you had your hand up. Was that intentional? Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes, I wanted to remark on the union thing that you brought up recently.
Oh,
yeah. I know you're a different generation and you do think differently. In my lifetime, I've seen absolute major United States industries disappear completely from the country. The garment industry, the steel industry. And now you have an industry that's facing technological obsolescence, and it's probably inevitable. Well, I don't think that government control, more and more government control on protectionism, is good for the country overall. But of course, I'm wrong at least half the time, so that's just an opinion.
Well, yeah, the protectionism, as you put it, I think really what we're looking at in Congress right now is what kind of rules are you going to put for AI? And I think that's a very difficult issue for politicians to approach. Whereas, and I've mentioned it before, I think we need a digital person's Bill of Rights. I think that there should be inalienable rights that we expect from our digital footprint. And by doing so, we're forcing all industries to respect a rule that we expect as a culture, as a society. And so it would be that these are the rights that are guaranteed to our digital persona. And it would be things like you're never opted into anything. That would be a violation, and you could bring lawsuits or even law enforcement against agencies that are bad actors in that respect. It would be things like how your digital image gets used. When you start out from a premise of it can never be used without an agreement with you, then these industries, they have to work around that kind of regulation. I kind of feel the same way. This is not a tech issue, but I kind of feel the same way about healthcare. I feel like a healthcare in the United States would begin to get sorted out if we did something simple like put it in the Bill of Rights. If we made healthcare a human right that we have to respect across all industries, they would have to start massaging around that issue so that everyone got healthcare. And there would be profits lost places, and there would be organizations that would crumble and others. But the point would be they would all be refocusing around that new concept for our culture and community. Yes, Bill.
Okay, I looked it up. It was $29.99 Canadian, $30 Canadian. So that puts it right around the 24, 25 US. It's a Deco, DEKCO, baby monitor with night vision, whatever. That's basically what it's in my old orders. So that's the one I'm using. Now I'm on a Canadian site, so maybe it just doesn't even exist US. I don't know.
No, I saw the baby monitor. Actually.
You're probably looking for a security camera. That was probably the language you were using.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So there it is. It says night vision, phone notification, two-way audio, 360 degrees surveillance interior, works with Alexa. I've never tried it with Alexa, but I just noticed that. I'll try it now. But I recommend that one. It works fine.
Cool.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I will be playing around with this in the future, but there's an article talking about how Google will now proactively scan the web for your contact information. I have not gotten to play with this yet, but I get the impression this would be very similar to your password scan, that your Google Chrome browser actually does this thing where it does a security check and it looks at your saved passwords and tells you if any of them have been compromised, because there's public databases out there that keep track of compromised email addresses and passwords. And so it'll compare your saved list of passwords to that public database. So this is the same kind of thing, but for your contact information. You will need to provide or verify your contact information in your Google account, but then under the securities page, it will be telling you when it finds this information leaking out from specific websites. Now, when you find this information, Google has provided a system that allows you to remove them from the search results. What this means is that when you type in, like for example, in your Google search, you type in some of your personal information, maybe your address, maybe your first and last name. These websites that are leaking your information are actually in the Google search results. And so you're finding yourself in places that maybe you'd prefer didn't populate as a Google search result. So when these are identified with this system of Google, you can request from a button that these results are removed from their search results. This is actually a really interesting proposition. Now, Google has no effect on the websites that have your personal information. And hopefully they talk like, in this article, they talk in a way that makes me feel like Google would send an announcement to the webmaster saying this user would prefer that their personal information is not coming out of their website. However, I don't know how involved that is, how official that is. But what Google is promising is that it will not cache your personal information from these particular websites that have been identified as a problem. All you have to do is say, I don't want that, by hitting this button, and they will not be in the search results. So I think overall this is a good thing, and you should check it out. Results about you. This is all done through the Google Accounts page that we all have, or you wouldn't be in this meeting right now. You have to have a Google account to be in this meeting. We just got a 15-minute warning on our second meeting, which means we're really enjoying ourselves.
I've got to go. Bye-bye.
Paul's got to go. We'll see you later, Paul. And that really was me cueing you guys into, we need to wrap this up. We typically wrap it up with some reviews or some recommendations. If anybody's got a recommendation who's still with me, you can throw it out now and I'll add it to our document. I put 2 on my list. One's a TV show called Vicious that Yuya turned me on to this week. She'd been watching it on her own. I hadn't been paying any attention to it. Then I sat down and started watching it with her, and I couldn't stop laughing. It's got Ian McKellen in it. It's a British sitcom. It's 2 seasons. I think it's 2014 to 2016, but it's absolutely hilarious. The funny part about it, they play an old gay couple, and it's called Vicious because of the way that they would attack their friends and each other is so formally British and so hilarious that you find that, oh, that's not a compliment. He was actually making fun of him. Here's a picture of the guys that are in this series. 2013. But we binged the whole thing. It's great, and you can find it. I made a note where you could find it because it was a little difficult to find. It's in the United States. It's on the PBS app, but it's also available with ads on Tubi. So if you've got Tubi, you can watch this show, and anybody can have Tubi. It's very easy to download and install. Okay,
quick announcement. Only Murders in the Building starts season 3 tonight.
I'm amazed that's going to a 3rd season. I never got into the 2nd season.
We love that show.
I got to go back to it, I think. I just
never do it on private recommendation, but we watch it religiously.
Well, I really enjoyed the 1st season and just never got to the 2nd season.
I've just been binging another one. It's a Canadian production, CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, out of Nova Scotia. It's called Moonshine, and it's an old hippie couple that have been running this seaside trailer court for a while, and various drug dealings and moonshine activities that moved into more marijuana and different things, and old pirates and treasures, and it's just really crazy stuff, and crazy characters, but it kind of grabs you. And I thought that I had already watched the first 2 seasons, so I started to watch the 3rd season, and here I haven't watched the 2nd, so I binged it last night. So.
Oh, you finally caught up. Are you guys seeing the same thing I am? I was watching Cheryl watch herself talk. You've got there's an incredible delay on your laptop right now.
Oh, is there?
Yes, you're talking, and we're watching your reactions from, like, I don't know, 30 seconds ago, or in fact, I don't even. Yeah, it's really bizarre. Is your laptop heating up? Are fans blowing? Is there something like that going on?
Actually, I'm on my iPad, but I'm working on my laptop beside it.
Oh,
so,
that's interesting. Yeah, because
Yeah.
your
Anyway.
audio is coming through great, but your video is really delayed.
But another quick note, Cheryl used to teach in this smaller town, and the school is right across from the local still, I believe, that blew up one day. Just a quick note. That's maybe her reason for being interested in moonshine.
In moonshine.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to recommend for those that listen to audiobooks, I've been listening to John Connolly lately. I guess you can read him also. Fabulous author. Great stories throughout.
What's the most recent one you're doing?
I don't remember.
Oh,
I'd have
okay.
to look at my list.
I've been listening to audio books, but I don't think you guys would be interested in them. They're all Star Wars books. but I don't buy them because they're available at my local library. So I just download, and I here working the bed and breakfast, I gotta mow the lawn, I gotta work with customers. So I'm always running around doing tasks. So I've got my headphones on, listening to audiobooks.
All right, I'm out of here. Have a good week.
All right, you guys.
Have a good
We'll
one,
see you
everybody.
next Tuesday. Thanks for being here. We'll do the same thing next week. Until then, everybody, tech on. Good to see you, Irving. Hope you join us next week. See you, Cheryl. All right, well, that was us. The San Carlos Computer Club doing it once again. I'm in Anchorage. Some of those folks are in Canada. Some of those, Irving's in Homer. Can you believe it? But I don't think, maybe Paul's in San Carlos. We are the San Carlos Computer Club, though, and we are because we have ties to San Carlos. We all live there at some point during the year, and you can find out more about our club by going to scclub.org. That's where we post when we are going to have a meeting, and you can find links to our previous videos on YouTube. I'm Scott Stimson. I do computer work. I do mostly remote computer work these days. If you are looking for solutions, then I'm the guy to get a hold of. Send me an email, scott@internationalcs.net. Until next Tuesday, all of you out there in internet land, tech on.